Women+ in Geospatial is a professional network for women and underrepresented genders in the geospatial industry. We started as a grassroots activity in 2019, and we created some momentum. We now have the community of more than 5,500 women. Our guiding principle is that we want to inspire, unite, and empower. Really worked a lot to unite every woman who works in the geospatial field and to give them access to a community, to access to guidance and resources. We have our flagship activity, and this is the mentorship program. We usually can accept around 100 participants every year. And we had this year 3 times more applicants than participants we can accept.
Hello and welcome to WGIC, the World Geospatial Industry Council. Our guest today is Julia Wagemann, co-founder and director of Women in Geospatial and the winner of the WGIC DEI Trailblazer Advocacy Award for 2024. Julia, Hari, congratulations and welcome to WGIC.
Thank you, Banu. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Julia, for the people who are not very familiar, can you tell us about the organization and how it came into being? And what are the experiences and thoughts behind the founding of Women in Geospatial?
Yeah, happy to do that. So Women+ in Geospatial is a professional network for women and underrepresented genders in the geospatial industry. We started as a grassroots activity in 2019. It started with a simple tweet, just asking on Twitter at that time if there are any women who are interested in forming a group where we can network, share resources and advice. And within 2 days, we had more than 300 women showing interest in such a group. And then we took it from there. So we started in 2019 a Slack channel and a mailing list. And for the past 5 years, we now grew into a community of more than 5,500 women working in the geospatial industry and academia, coming from 149 countries.
Wow.
And what we do is we give we offer a network, so you can tap into a network of more than 5,500 women in the industry, but also career advancement and events and a mentorship program.
Fantastic. That's a great place to begin with. But tell me something, my friend. What, in your view, are some of the diversity, equity, and inclusivity challenges in the geospatial sector? And how do you see these challenges impacting the sector's growth? And since it has formed as a organization or a platform to networking, but has grown into a global force that is helping women to overcome many of the DEI challenges, would you help us understand how Women+ in Geospatial is working to overcome some of these DEI challenges?
Yeah, sure. So I start with the challenges what we see also like through our network and talking with our community members. So one of the challenges that we see still, and this is probably not different to other industries, an underrepresentation of Women+, especially when it comes to more technical roles and also roles at the executive level. And as a result, we see also when we go to conferences often an underrepresentation of Women+. And then this is like a cascade that just follows. For example, also on conferences, if we already have not enough women, then also we often have panels, so men-only panels, where the thought leadership in the industry is often only shared from one perspective, and we don't have enough diverse voices who can also give their perspectives on it. So Yeah, and this has in the end a huge impact to the industry and especially also to the growth of our industry because while we at the moment we see big, very exciting changes in the geospatial industry. So, for example, there's a move towards more productization of a lot of services and solutions. And if we only develop these products with one perspective or like with one thought or thinking process, this has an impact on the products. And we also believe that if you already integrate more diverse perspectives in the entire product development, you will get a better result. And then at the same time, we also see, we expect the geospatial industry and also the use of geospatial data. There's a big increase in the market opportunity already now, but more so even in the next 5 to 10 years. But we already see now a skills shortage. So we don't have enough people and talent that can actually fill all the demand from the companies. And this says that we can't, as an industry, we can't afford to lose talent and people who are motivated and inspired by the industry. So we can't lose them, that they get frustrated and in the end leave the industry. So I would say only with diversity and inclusion, we can also get towards a better match towards the demand of the industry regarding skills shortage and talent.
Thank you so much for articulating your thoughts, Julia. But having recognized that, and several organizations recognize that, but despite well-meaning policies at organization levels, disparities are still existing in career advancement opportunities and or institutional support as well. Tell us your experiences of inclusive work culture practices or the lack thereof, which is actually causing lack of diversity at the organizations you have been associated with or have seen in your career.
Happy to share some of the experiences we see and also from our members sharing their experience. So often there is, at the moment, we see a mismatch between job opportunities that are in the industry, but then at the same time, we have a lot of women plus talent looking for jobs, but somehow the open jobs and organizations don't find the talent that exists. And then when you are in an organization, there is challenges. If you're in a more male-dominated team, so a non-diverse team, then often some women are just don't have the confidence maybe to speak up or to share their perspective. So it needs a lot of work on your own confidence to also raise and develop your voice in an organization, or especially if it's a team that is not diverse. And also if the team is not aware of specific systematic biases, because it often happens, and I believe it happened to all women in our network, that you sometimes are in a meeting and you just have any chance to actually share your perspective or say something, or people speak over you. And this is important that like organizations, first of all, are aware of these biases and systematic challenges, but then it's also up to the organization to include specific measures into their culture. So how do they want to be, how do they want to have team meetings? I feel everyone wants every team member to be included, that they feel they can be themselves, that they are heard, that they can share their ideas and these ideas are appreciated. And this is a lot at the moment because of systematic biases, unfortunately not the case yet.
So what do you think, what are some of the ways organizations can create more inclusive cultures from the ground up?
Yeah, there are three three areas where I believe organizations can start, and first of all is also like it is a process, so it is a journey. Important is that organizations have to commit to say yes, we start at some point, and then we also learn as we go. But in one area is definitely hiring. So already by revising together with a diverse team job descriptions. So revise the wording of job descriptions. Important also to include salary ranges for each role, because this makes inequalities already less. No, they evolve less, because it is just like equal or more fair from the beginning. And then also for example, in job descriptions, we know that there's statistics that show that women only apply if they fulfill 95% or 90% of the requirements, and men, if they require, or if they fulfill 50% of the requirements, they just give it a shot. And important here is to just with small revision of wording, saying that, okay, we are aware that you will not fulfill all the requirements, and so please submit your application and let us decide whether we think you're a good fit. Already helps that people or women plus apply for specific jobs. Then also make an effort to spread your jobs in diverse channels. So not only rely on hiring through referrals, because if you have already a non-diverse team, then the likelihood that your referrals are less diverse. And there's one opportunity to collaborate with such groups like Women Plus in Geospatial. So we are happy to share jobs that you have to help you also to source talent, and to make this link between Women Plus talent and open jobs and roles in the industry. And then when it comes to the interview process, also to set up diverse interview panels. This is very important, because this is what I also experience a lot and still experience quite often, is that you get invited to an interview panel, and then all the people in the panel are share only one perspective, and often are only male. Especially if you interview for higher executive roles. So the second area where companies can also make an effort, and this is already what I started to mention a bit, is work on the company culture. So be aware of these systematic biases, because they exist, and we also say we will not solve these systematic biases, but like with small actions, we can make them a bit less lived in an organization, or less lived in our industry. And so one simple example is to work together with your leadership teams to set raise awareness, and then set rules for team meetings. Make sure that you aware that in your team, did everyone speak? Was everyone was heard? Did they have the chance to contribute and to share their perspective and idea? And with these are small steps, but this is also like a very important step where you can gradually set up and build up the right culture. And then regarding career advancements is probably also the similar, especially when it comes to defining the metrics for success. This is often of who is the most visible, who is the most, who speaks most, it's like the most visible in meetings, the most visible with projects, etc. And there's often also on the organizational level to look behind the most obvious things, like who is contributing, maybe, for example, who sets the foundation and the baseline for all the success, even though it's not very obvious. And this is also important, because often there are a lot of profiles and roles and talent overseen because they're just not visible enough.
Thank you for elucidating these points of very tactical yet very important aspects for organizations to follow and bring about inclusivity in their cultures. So we have spoken about the situation and the status quo in the geospatial sector. Now I want to understand how Women Plus in Geospatial is, through its initiatives and programs, helping to improve the situation. I see that the annual Women Plus in Geospatial Mentorship program has completed 5 cohorts and is running a 6th cohort, right? Can you help us understand how this initiative is empowering women in the sector?
Yes, happy to do that. So when we started as a grassroots activity in 2019, and we created some momentum. We now have the community of more than 5,500 women, and in the past 5 years we worked strongly on a community approach, so like on a bottom-up approach. We really worked a lot to unite every woman who works in the geospatial field, and to give them access to a community, to access to guidance and resources. And so the network and the community is one activity we believe we can break down some of the barriers and challenges we have, because networking is one of the key metrics or key activities that also help you in developing your professional career and also in advancing in your career. So with this, we really focus on giving access to a network and advice and resources. Then additionally, we also have a speakers database, and this is one activity where we want to give conference organizers or panel organizers an opportunity where they can tap into a database of women talent and women experts on specific topics in the field. And with this, we don't accept the excuse anymore that we tried really hard, but we couldn't just find any woman speaker. And because there are a lot of women experts, it's just not in our direct network and in the back of our mind. But this often is also a bias in our own perception and network. And so we want to give anyone the opportunity to tap into this resource. And then more recently, we also started to collaborate with companies in the geospatial field to help them with talent acquisition and development, because we identified this mismatch that we in our community have a lot of great motivated talent in the geospatial industry, but then there's jobs, but they don't find each other. And so we also collaborate with companies at the moment to help them post jobs, then also help them to tap into our community and make the way and the link to talent easier. And hopefully with this, in the long run, we also see a more diverse hiring and composition in organizations.
I'm so happy to see that Women Plus in Geospatial is also reaching out to various companies for their hiring. Glad to know that. So within this framework of Inspire, Unite, and Empower, which Women Plus in Geospatial lives by, could you provide any specific examples illustrating how these principles have led to positive changes in either representation, women representation, or women empowerment in the geospatial sector?
Yeah, sure. So we as an organization, our guiding principle is that we want to inspire, unite, and empower. And this means all our activities and all our activities we do follow these principles. So we want to inspire, unite, and empower. The activities under Inspire is everything outward facing. So our activity on LinkedIn, for example, is a lot behind it. We want to inspire every woman plus to to be proud in the industry, to be inspired to speak up, to be inspired to overcome your challenges, to overcome and really be there and also ask for what you want, to really become the true self in the industry. And we do this with different ways. So we do advocacy on LinkedIn, but then we also, for example, give a platform by everyone who wants, where we share their profiles on a bi-weekly basis. So we share from our community members their profile, what they work on, what they motivated and inspired by. And so this is a platform where you can really tap into, where you can get visibility also inside the geospatial field. Unite is everything community facing. So this is our main activity, is the community. We just migrated our community from Slack to another community platform. And this is everything where we have our activities where we can unite each other. So in our community, we run events internally, but also publicly on current industry trends. For example, like 2 weeks ago, we just had a very successful webinar series on cloud native geospatial and how this shapes the industry in the next years, for example. And then inside the community, there's different pathways, and everyone, whatever you're interested in. So if you want to have technical advice, if you want to have advice on data, if you want to have advice on leadership or professional development, if you are in a situation and you're not really sure how to deal with it, there's usually a room where you can post it, and then people are really happy to share their experience, their perspectives, and give advice. Important also, our community is only for women plus, so it's a real safe space for everyone to be open. And this is also one other guiding principle, is from the beginning, we said we want to be accessible. So we want to give everyone, regardless of where they come from, their economic background, and etc., that we want to give them access to our community. And this means we didn't start with, and we also still don't have membership fees. This enables everyone to get access to resources, guidance, community, and our network. And then under Empower, we have our flagship activity, and this is the mentorship program. As you already indicated shortly, is that it's already in we have already our sixth cohort just started some weeks ago. And this is really our flagship activity. And the mentorship program, we want to give a framework and room for the participants to develop themselves personally and professionally by being part either of a mentorship mentee constellation or a peer mentorship group. And within 1 year, together with your group or your mentor or mentee, you develop objectives and goals you want to reach personally and professionally. And through this setup, that you have a peer mentorship group or a mentor or mentee, that allow that you have kind of an accountability buddy, or you have an accountability group. This helps you also to follow better the goals and objectives you set yourself. This, because I say it's one of our flagship activities, it's we usually can accept around 100 participants every year. And we had this year 3 times more applicants than participants we can accept. So this is really something where also our community and Women Plus really look for, and they really look for mentoring and mentorship opportunities. And when we also ask members who participate in the mentorship program, they if they take it seriously and they really take it as a chance, then they usually also get a lot out of it. So we have a lot of success examples where they, for example, in one group, they wanted to learn a bit better on how they can improve their social profile on LinkedIn. And this group was like amazing. So like there was especially one group member who grew to a follower list of 20,000 people in this time. And this came out of the mentorship program. And so this is one example. But it's important that it's like the mentorship program, it only is as successful as much as you also participate in it. So we give the framework, we give the matching and the access to people, but then it's also up to you how much you make out of it.
These mentorship programs, are they tailored for entry-level, mid-level, or senior-level executives, women working in these professions, or they're tailored for women across the spectrum?
Everyone can participate or apply. I would say we see definitely the interest to be mentored is definitely more at the early career towards mid-career level, of course, because you have more need on guidance and development. However, and then at the same time, we also see, but this is like we have less applicants, and this is usually every year we look for more to mentors. So this is usually if you're in your mid and a senior level of your career, where you then want to give back and you want to give guidance to more early career. So this is more the idea. But then because we usually have more applicants who want to be mentored, we also have this setup of peer mentorship groups. So usually when you apply, you give an indication on why you want to apply, your motivation, and what you also want to work on in the next year. And then we try to match you with 2 to 3 others who have similar goals and objectives and are also in a similar location as you, at least in the time zone, because otherwise it makes it very difficult to meet up. And these peer mentorship groups, even though they don't have this traditional classic mentor-mentee guidance, they highly appreciate it because it's probably this fact on this accountability, so that you together define your goals and objectives, and then you work together, and then you also you share your progress during this time, which really is much more engaging than when you set goals and objectives for yourself.
Thank you so much, Julia, for creating such a beautiful space for women, fellow women in the industry, and a very safe and secure space for them. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you, Banu, again. I really enjoyed talking to you.